like to talk to you about the damage that occurs from earthquakes. An earthquake is the movement of Earth's crust due to a rapid release of energy. So, damage includes, or it depends upon, damage depends upon the intensity and the duration of the earthquake. So, if the earthquake is very strong, high amplitude, and if the earthquake lasts for a long time, maybe 6 seconds or 10 seconds, would be a strong earthquake. Earthquakes are measured with no bottom number in mind. There is no limit for the bottom number or the top number, but a 6 for about 10 seconds would be a pretty devastating earthquake. So the damage comes from, again, the intensity and the duration of the earthquake. Damage also happens because of unreinforced buildings and unreinforced structures. So if you, most of the time where earthquakes occur, or are more likely to occur, the buildings have quite a bit of reinforcing steel in them. So they can withstand the rocking back and forth that an earthquake would do to them. There's many building codes in earthquake-prone regions that require this reinforced steel in tall buildings and in city and government buildings and bridges. Have to have this steel reinforced concrete. The concrete is also a special mixture. It tends to be a bit more spongy, so again, it could ride that back and forth movement that earthquakes cause. So besides intensity and duration of earthquakes, and if the buildings are unreinforced with steel or not, the last thing that damage comes from is the nature of the ground that the buildings or the community sits on. So a soft soil will amplify or make the earthquake waves travel through the ground very easily. So consequently, the buildings will get more damage to them if the earthquake waves can travel very easily and unimpeded. If the ground is made of stone, then the earthquake waves slow down, and they might not be able to go through it as effectively as if the community is on a soft soil. So damage occurs from intensity and duration of the earthquake, if buildings have unreinforced steel in them or not, and also comes from the nature of the ground that the building sits on. Disasters that occur on the aftermath of an earthquake include tsunamis. A tsunami is when the ocean floor becomes displaced, a large chunk of ocean floor falls down. That is going to cause wave motion to happen. It could start in the middle of the ocean, at the edge of the ocean. It doesn't matter. Wherever that ocean floor has fallen will begin that giant wave. Then we have an underwater landslide, maybe a ridge in the ocean, an underwater ridge. There'll be a landslide, and again, that energy moving of the rock is going to move the water. The water will absorb the energy. The water will start to move in a giant wave. The giant wave is called a tsunami. We also have landslides and sinkholes that occur after an earthquake. If there's a mountain that's been cut out for a community to have houses or roads, the side of that mountain could start to slide down and bury the town or the car or whatever is in its path. Also, a sinkhole could open up. Sometimes ground might be a little softer in one spot than in another spot. Maybe a community is built half on rock and half on soft soil. When that earthquake wave travels through the soft soil, it could cause the soil to move. The soil moves in a certain way. The ground can just drop inward on itself, and you could have a huge sinkhole occur. Lastly, the other danger after an earthquake, besides tsunamis, sinkholes, and landslides, is a fire. And this is because the earthquake waves travel through the ground, and as they travel through the ground, they could rupture or just break off a gas line. And gas is highly flammable. Natural gas is highly flammable, which is going to catch on fire very easily. So that's half the problem. The other half of the problem is that not only do the gas lines rupture, but the water mains, the water lines also rupture as well. So if firemen are hampered to put out the fire because the water pressure will be so low that they can't get enough pressure in a hose to douse the fire. So for more information about the damage that earthquakes cause, please email me at rose_wignall@abss.k12.nc.us.